What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video at JDH Aquatics, where we talk about anything aquariums related. Today we're going to be going over how much my mangroves have grown in the past 8 months of me owning them. So I got these 2 mangrove pods from my local reef store about 8 months ago, and when I got them they were a lot smaller than this, and they had no leaves. They were just little pods, and I want to say they were around maybe 12 inches when I got them. However, we are going to measure it out right now and try to get a more accurate measurement, and then we're going to measure these guys out and really see how much they've grown. And then I'll talk a little bit about the husbandry and how I've been taking care of them. So we're going to use the reference photo that you see on the screen. When I first got the pods, I put them into this Imaginarium 3.7 gallon Pico. As you can see, the tallest mangrove pod is about maybe 3 inches above the top of the aquarium. So what we're gonna do right now is grab one of my old 3.7 gallon Imaginariums and measure out about how tall that would be. So down here we've got the old tank, and this is gonna be kind of hard to do with one hand, but that's about 10 inches. We're gonna go, it's not gonna focus, but that's about 10 inches on the dot. I also could have just looked up how tall this tank was, but we're gonna go with 10 inches, and that mangrove pod was sitting about 3 inches above that. So we'll go with 13 inches for the tallest one and about 12 inches for the shorter one. Moving up to the pods up here now, my guess, since this tank I wanna say is like 11.5, maybe 12 inches tall, these things are probably closer to about 20 inches now, if not taller. And I do realize they're sitting in a good amount of sand back there, which is probably about 3 inches itself. So we'll have to knock that off as well, but we'll try to measure it from the top of that sand to the top of the leaves. I have a tripod, but my mic is really short, so I'm gonna have to drop the mic for a second and go measure this, but I'll tell you guys what the measurements are. So, the tallest mangrove plant with the tallest leaf from the bottom of the aquarium is about 22 3/4 inches. Now, the tallest part of the sand is about 3 3/4 of an inch. So we're just gonna take that off of the 22 3/4, and we're at about 19 inches. So roughly in the past 8 months, they've grown about 6 inches. If we started them at about 13 and they're roughly at about 19 right now, that's a 6-inch difference. So we're a little off, I know, with the measurements because we didn't get the exact measurement when we first got them, and they are sitting on a bit of sand in the back there, so it might be off by an inch or so. But I want to say we've had them growing for about an inch every month is what that's coming out to. That seems like a steady growth rate for some sort of plant, and especially in a low nutrient environment like this where we don't have a lot of food in there or fish waste, they're still growing pretty good. The first sign of growth that I saw with the mangrove pods was the roots. When they were just the little pods, they had these red or orange nubs coming out of them, which were the beginning stages of the roots. They are now a lot longer. They actually drop all the way behind this little mushroom rock. You guys can see those 2 legs there, but those are the roots of these pods, and they're all up in the sand as well. And the bases are about the same thickness as they were when I first got them, so that hasn't grown much, but definitely the height, and then of course the lush leaves up top. I started to get my first sprouting leaves at about a month in after just letting these pods sit in one place, and I did have a pretty decent LED that was sitting on top of them. With the first plant up here, I think this one's got 8 leaves on it, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then this one's got 6. So 8 leaves in 8 months, you know, it's about a leaf a month, but they do come in these little pairs. So this one should have the 8th leaves coming, and this one's got a new little sprout there, so 10 coming on that guy there. But yeah, these things have been popping off leaves like it's nothing. They've also kept really good deep color. As you guys can see, they're still really green and lush. The ones down here are a little bit darker than the newer ones up top, I don't know the exact kind of mangroves these are because I know there's, red mangroves and different variations, so I'm not sure exactly which ones these are. They did start to turn a little bit red at one point, and I was scared that they were browning out and getting, I think, too much light, but they did come back and they're looking really good. The leaves are huge on this one in the back, and just the way they're sprawled out and displayed, I think they look so awesome. Let's go over the maintenance regimen for this tank because it's quite simple and easy to take care of. As you guys can see, there's no fish in this tank, so the nutrient level can be pretty low for it. I do throw in a few pellets of food just to put some sort of nutrients in the tank for the corals and the mangroves, but other than that, we don't dose or add any sort of food to this aquarium. Since there's no ATO, I do top it off pretty much daily. I have a little 5-gallon bucket that I throw some water in the back, but it's super simple. It takes maybe 5 gallons every week or so. I do get 5 gallons every week, but it doesn't go through it all the way. So it doesn't take that much top off water to do it manually. This tank's been set up for about a year now, maybe a little less, but the biological filtration in this tank and the beneficial bacteria colonies are pretty mature, I want to say, for this aquarium. A lot of the rock and sand was taken over from this tank, which has been set up for quite a while as well. So the beneficial bacteria in this tank is pretty mature, and I think that's another part of why it's stable and doing so well. Mangroves just really do it for me. As you guys can see, I do like houseplants, got a couple to the side there. So anything that's a plant that's in the saltwater hobby I think is just so intriguing. And they've been really easy to keep so far. I wouldn't say they're a beginner type of thing that you would get in the hobby, but they're definitely not the hardest either. And like I said, I've really enjoyed the past few months seeing them grow. It's really exciting to see how much more they're gonna grow in the future. I'm waiting for them to get some branches and start branching out, but I know we are probably a year or so out from that. But again, we're just gonna sit back and enjoy watching them grow. If you guys have any questions about the mangroves or this setup, then please leave it in the comments down below. Or you can send me a direct message. The link to my Instagram is in the description below as well. But with all that being said, I'll be sure to catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.